Let's come to Gauteng in Ekurhuleni. They will not have a new mayor today. Councillors have decided to elect a new mayor at their next council sitting on the 24th of November. The ANC's Mzwandile Masina was expected to make a comeback, but he bowed out of the race to make way for the EFF's Nkululeko Dunga to be elected as mayor. Well, time will tell what will happen come the voting time. My colleague, senior reporter Aviwe Mtila, following these developments for us, is joining us now live again from Ekurhuleni. Aviwe, we had the speaker a little bit earlier, Mr. Dlamini, saying that the council has no choice but to call a special sitting in the next 7 days. One wonders what that special sitting will be like. But I understand you've got the ousted mayor of Ekurhuleni, Tanya Campbell, losing that vote of no confidence last week.
Tanya Campbell, of course, ousted on this very Wednesday last week. It's 7 days later now, where we're expecting then the Ekurhuleni Council to elect its new mayor, possibly also seeing her come back if the things went the DA caucus way. But of course that didn't happen, Brad Dan. All 11 parties here, 224 councillors, in agreement that this should be postponed. But the bone of contention then is the time period, because you do understand they have the next 7 days. They have to elect a mayor within 14 days. 7 days have passed already, so they've got 7 days to have an extraordinary sitting where they'll elect then their new mayor. But I want to touch then with the outgoing mayor, Tanya Campbell, who could possibly make a comeback, just to get a sentiment. Thank you for joining us at eNCA. Why then did the DA agree to this postponement, and what's the basis of it?
Well, the DA didn't agree upon it. If you looked at the meeting, I'm the leader of our caucus. I did not agree upon it because the reason for this is that we had already done our homework. We had already spoken to who we needed to speak to. We were not scurrying around for positions. We had a complete plan formulated. When you look at other parties, they had not had proper discussions. They were scurrying around. Even within their own caucuses, they were scurrying. Our caucus and our coalition was steadfast what we were going to do, and that is precisely why we felt today should carry on. However, for stability, it is also very important that parties do get to speak to each other. Going forward, we have to have stability within the city.
Why then didn't you push for it? If you didn't agree with it, why didn't you push for it? Because the other parties all agreed, barring you, as you say.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, it is a full council decision. It is not a singular decision. The Speaker of Council also has a role to play. And the Speaker of Council had felt that it is important that we give everybody the space, and therefore it is something that we will comply by. But I do think when you look at the facts of the matter is that services are not being rendered right now. So at the cost of what? The cost of the residents, the cost of our public out there, that we are still, or other parties are still playing games regarding mayorship. It also seems that every single party wants to put up candidates for mayors. It is a very dedicated job. If you cannot have stability in your own caucus, how can you put yourselves up for mayors? Some caucuses, I believe, had 3 candidates in one caucus.
And talking about services, the reason that we're here is because of the motion against you that says that you're not rendering services as the mayor. I understand you gonna stand once more as the DA candidate. One, do you have the numbers, and why should you stand if the allegations that the services aren't being rendered anyway?
Yes, look, I think there are a lot of parties that will say that, specifically the ones who want back in power. Services are rendered, and in actual fact, every single one of my, or 80% of my Fridays, back to basic Fridays, I do in all areas. I was blamed of being racist, which is absolutely ludicrous. When I look at the support that I'm getting out there from the communities and visiting the communities and making sure that services are starting to be rendered in those areas. You know, I've had 11 months in office. to correct 21 years of misuse and abuse is very difficult. However, we were finding traction, and then we became a target, became a threat, because services were starting to be rendered. We found a lot of officials have found themselves where they could grow within their positions. They weren't sabotaged in a way by saying, you do X, Y, and Z to our standards or you lose your job. What I looked at with officials were their capabilities, what they were employed for, are they professional. I am not interested in your card and what party you belong to. What I am interested in as an official of the city is to render services to the public.
And then this question couldn't be answered by the Speaker and the Whip of Council here around what happens next then should Council not be able to elect a mayor within the next 14 days. What does the rule book say? Maybe you can give us that clarity as an outgoing mayor.
Yeah, there is a Systems Act that guides us. The Systems Act gives you 3 chances to elect another mayor. Also, there are a lot of talks that the city might go under administration, which is not the exact truth. If you have a city manager who is still functioning and you have an administration that is still functioning and still doing services, then you cannot go under administration. I do not think that is to the benefit, or definitely is not to the benefit of our communities out there, and we will do everything in our power for that not to happen. I think it is being childish to think that if you push the municipality into administration that you've won a battle. I think it's immature politics, and I also think it's also not keeping your residents first in your thinking of how to run a municipality and what a leader should be. For me, it's always been what should happen, how to stabilize this municipality, how to get services out there, and make sure that it is done within the stipulated time.
And just lastly, what are the talks within the DA around staving away the motions of no confidence against the Chief Whip and the Speaker of Council?
Yeah, I believe that motion was withdrawn. They did not comply, firstly, but I believe that the motions were withdrawn. In actual fact, the motion against me should have been withdrawn because, as you've seen today, the absolute chaos that happened here with people not knowing in their own caucuses what to do, it should have been withdrawn. It should never have carried, because all that happens is you're creating instability in your city. You should never, as a leader, opt for instability, ever.
All right, thank you very much. Tanya Campbell is the outgoing mayor of Ekurhuleni, wanting, of course, to also make a comeback here as the mayor-elect, possibly, if we do see then the elections of the mayor in the city of Ekurhuleni, which needs to happen, Radan, within the next 7 days.